Hi, we're Ian and Julie. Follow us on our tiny homestead and our debt-free project of a lifetime, the building of a home here in the Pyrenees, and all of this alongside our full-time jobs.
Hi, welcome back. It is time to install another ECOWORTHY solar tracker. We've been so impressed with this piece of kit. It hasn't stopped working since we installed it 8 months ago, maybe longer now, but it's fantastic. And with these two panels, this is about 1,000 watt, 1,100 actually, but efficiency wise, it is doing so well. We're not going to install it here on this property. I'm installing it on my son's property. He has 8 panels already, but 2 of them are always in the shade. He has optimizers, he has DC optimizers on them, and it's something that I wanted to explore for these 2, combined with my other 4 panels sitting over there on the roof. So we are going to install this at the bottom of his garden in full view of the sun, join it in conjunction with the other panels using the DC optimizers, so every single panel will work individually. We're going to install it into his Hawaii system, which is a bespoke system. It's just, you can't add other components to this system. So everything is Hawaii, I think that's how you say it. So we're going to get down to his house now. We're going to dig out the foundations, although I think I dropped the digger off there yesterday and I think he's had a crafty nighttime dig. We're going to get the concrete base formed, poured, and we'll get on with the installation. I'm just going to measure mine just to remind myself how big it is. Oh no, we lost Tom in the hole. So we have 60 by 60, and I think it was near enough 70 deep, so there's quite a bit of concrete. I'm not going to raise it off like I have done here, it's a bit more complicated, but what I am going to do is this conduit here, I have drilled a hole in the base of this column, and that is going to come up inside the column, so there's not going to be any of this nasty conduit showing. I just think I thought about that after I'd installed mine, so now we're doing a second one. We've learned from my mistakes. So yeah, we'll get all that installed, 60 by 60. I'll create a form and get that dropped off at his house, finish off the hole and pour that concrete. What are you doing?
Oh no, Tom! I'm not sure if Tom's really helping.
We're back on site. Just put the forms around the hole, so it's a 60 by 60, and we're digging the hole down about 80, or as deep as we can go with the shovel, and that should be good enough. And I'll just put together this on the bolts, because the bolts you get with the system are only short bolts, so I prefer to use these are 50 centimeters, and this little plate comes in the packaging, so it was and it's exactly the size of the base of the column. So I just used the column as a template, drilled it all out, and then bolted these on, so that'll act as an anchor within the concrete.
So this is Lewis, our son, the other end, pulling and pulling and wrapping up over a pole. It's coming. Whee, follow it round.
A bit of a long run, so it's just under 50 meters of cable we're going to run from the tracker to his inverter. So we're putting it all in to the conduit before we bury it, just in case we had a job after it was buried. So it's easier to do it in a nice long straight line. of this is measured up to be centered. And these lines there and there. We do need to screw it down so it doesn't float up. Oh, look at that, it's perfect, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. So we can pull all like that.
Doing it old school because all of our tools are up either the plot or at the pharmacy, so we don't have any with us. So this is perfect in both axes, but I've also put an adjustment bolt underneath. So when I take this wooden thing off, it'll leave the nuts, and then I can just adjust those up and down in any of the planes, and that's what I did last time. It also lifts the steel from off the concrete, so any moisture or anything is not going to get trapped underneath and start rusting, especially because I've drilled this hole for this conduit. Right, couple more mixes and we'll get this finished off. "24 hours later, well actually only 12, but I've just taken off the forms, and we're going to leave that to go off for a couple of days before I put on the column, but it's looking pretty good. We've rounded the edges off so the little grandkids won't fall over and crack their heads on a corner, but yeah, pretty pleased with that. With the conduit coming out the centre as well and the cable, I think this will be quite a neat job. So we're back on site, we've got the post all prepped and ready to go. What we're trying to do though is to minimise the amount of cables on the outside going down the bottom of the post. So there's a couple of holes here on the north side which would normally have the actuator if it was flipped around. So we're trying to use those two holes for the positive and negative DC cables. So we're just using a bit of a wire and trying to fish it out. It's a bit finicky, but it's actually working, and then these will just come up nice and neat to the actual solar panels. So we managed to get the cables in, now we're just feeding them all away. This is where we regret having too much cable. There we go. All right, and hopefully if my template worked, all those bolts, that'll be all right. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit more this one, because I can't.
So it's all plumb in both planes, so that is all good. The cables look pretty good. That's a positive. We just put a bit of tape around it, and there's plenty of space there. Might put a little bit of silicone around there a bit later on, but those will just strap up and go straight onto the panels. So each unit comes with pretty good instructions. So what's in the box? So the next piece I need are the B rod and the C rod. So I've done step number 1. This is the bolts that are normally supplied with it. So you drill into your concrete pad and then tap those in, tighten them, and they'll expand into the hole. But I always like, as I showed you, to do very long bolts, and we'll put on some locking nuts on here as well, just to doubly make sure. So this is the next stage, the B rod, and then attach the C rod there, and that is the south to north, this one, and this is east to west, the top one. And then it says out of screw bag 2 I need a couple of M14s and 110mm long. So each bag is labelled. Screw bag 2, all on its own, big bolt, and that's the axes that it'll rotate on. There. Okay, so I'm going to put that one in first. So just a nut on there. So I've got the front and back stays sort of branches in the rails. So now it is the actuator. Right, the control box, and it's got the little sun captor as well here. And all the leads. So out of the control box here, you've got the sun tracker, which we need to put onto the end of these rails, and I'll do that when we get the panels up. You then have the wind anemometer that we've got to put in on a little bracket down here. That's the only thing that's missing really, is a purpose bracket that you can just put on to this bar. I made one up out of a shelving bracket and a piece of wood, but we'll have to do the same for Lewis. And then you've got the 2 actuators, and then you have the power cable. Now this power cable, I installed a 12-volt transformer in my garage and then ran a cable all the way from the garage to this end of the cable. Now ECOWORTHY have supplied a new unit, which is a 12-volt power supply run from a small solar panel. Again, this will go on the edge of the rail once I've got the main panels up. But this is a small 12-volt solar tracker power box, and that will just sit on the side here and supply the complete 12 volts for the system. So it's totally autonomous. It will just sit here. It doesn't need any power from anywhere else. The only cables that we've run to it are the 2 DC cables for the solar panels. So again, the instructions are very good. So that will go like that and screwed through. Yeah. All level. Yeah, that's all right. Put the other one at the bottom. Yeah. That looks quite nice, and there's actually power already in there. So there must be a battery, and the little panel charges the battery. What have we got here? Battery voltage 12.8 volts. It's not very heavy though, so it's not very big battery, but power on, and then the green when it's charging. So this is the normal mains cable. It's a bit long, and this is the cable coming from the unit. So all I've done is taken the front panel off, 4 screws just here, and I'm going to remove this cable and just replace it with a shortened cable from the 12 volt, and that'll be a lot nicer. The power directly into the unit, which is much neater. Just put the panel back on. As I said, 4 little screws, and it's all bolted on. Just got the 12 volt power supply connected directly, as I showed yesterday. This is the next day, by the way. And I've just got the 2 actuators plugged in, and they can only be plugged in one way. So the plug and socket on the opposite sides of these cables, so you can't get them wrong. And I'm just putting this in a position so we can get the panels. So we'll put him in the center, and then is that gonna, that should stay, and then it'll balance off when we got the other one. Just putting the clamps on the solar panels, screw bag number 9. I had this problem last time, and I've got to say it, but these bolts, there's some sort of stainless steel or something like that, but as soon as you put them in to any bolt, or as in this case the clamp, they just bind, and you can't tighten them, you can't loosen them. Same with these nuts here. I hopefully will never have to take these off. The one I installed it myself at my place, I actually had to move these around to do a different configuration, and I basically had to grind all the bolts off, all the nuts off, and put on new bolts and nuts. The same with these. I am not going to risk using these bolts here for these clamps, so I'm going to go and source some other bolts so they will just fit nicely in them. Yeah, ECOWORTHY, you need to change these bolts out. They just don't work. And I've looked on the internet, and quite a few other people have seen this as well. So perfect, brilliant system, but these bolts, we need to do something about them. All right, let's try that. It's because we're putting it in a different configuration.
$195.
All right, let's
measure it. It's on the side.
Oh no, but you gotta. Oh, and then we can. You got it.
Yeah.
195, and then these are 60. So that's 135. So 67.5. Oh, that was there. 67.5. 67 exactly. I'm just shortening these, just because we're only putting 2 panels on, just makes it all neater. I'm just installing the little 12 volt solar panel now. I've just threaded this cable through so it looks all neat. There. Just figuring out the little light sensor, which is the crucial part of this system. Just cinch him up a little bit. Just going to overlap that so there's no sharp edges. So all the cables are done now. Everything's sort of cable tied up. There's a lot more cable than normal because of the 2 optimizers. And I've just got the 2 DC cables just hanging there for now. Where I've just got to go and get my crimp set and get those done. But we're going to turn it on for the first time. You can see here, probably not in this light, but that little mini solar panel, the 12 volt, is charging the solar tracker power box here, so that's perfect. So I'm just going to set power on. The actual control box is now turned on, and it's saying turn sunny in 7 seconds. So we just got to get out from underneath. There we go. While it's there, I'll just tighten that one. I want to say thanks to ECOWORTHY for sending this tracker. Although we've got 2 panels of 550 watt on here, this can take up to 300 pound, which is about 136 kilo of panels. And ECOWORTHY do a bifacial 195 watt panel, and this system can fit 6 of those, so just under 1200 watts. And being 40% more efficient as it tracks the sun from 0 degrees to 270 degrees, we've used it for over a year at our place, and it keeps our batteries charged 100% near enough all the time. I've had no issues with it, and that's why I'm really happy to install a second system for my son here at his house. I've put all the links into the various shops, so the German, Italian, French and English speaking shops. They're all in the description, and also on the ECOWORTHY Amazon shop from the 25th to the 31st of March, they are doing a spring sale on all their systems and products. So check it out. Again, I'll put that link down in the description. So again, thanks very much. If you like these sort of different videos as well of installations and things, leave a note down in the description, give us a cheeky thumbs up and hit the subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video when we're back at the plot, getting down and dirty with all the civil works before the foundations of the house begin. See you then.